after the exodus of LA started to happen, you left.
That's it.
Obviously, just Steve left and it fell apart.
Yeah.
You
The
left.
walls fell
Rogan
down.
left.
D'Elia, not by choice. Sorry.
Again, not by choice.
Some guys got on a plane. Other guys f***ed their way out of the.
Some guys got on a
the
plane.
scene.
Some guys got on a school bus and got right out of goddamn LA.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Comedy Pinata from New York City. As you know, we moved it from Nashville, Tennessee to New York City. I couldn't be more excited. Obviously, our co-host, Michael Albanese, and
Hello.
we have a very, very special guest, one of my favorites. So
you.
much so, when I tape my first Comedy Central Presents, my first half hour, I invited a few friends. The only one to show up, Mr. Joe DeRosa. Joe DeRosa here, everybody. Thank you, Joe, for coming by. How are
Good
you
to
doing?
see you, buddy. I'm doing well. It's good to see you both. And that, I just want to say, before I even ask how you're doing,
Yeah.
that gesture
Yeah.
has paid off in dividends.
You're here today.
Well, to going to your special.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to go either. And I forced myself to go, and it's forged a great friendship. No, I'm kidding.
I
I
didn't
was
wanna
so
go.
excited to
No.
go.
Thank you.
I seriously
You're
went-
in it. You're in the crowd shot.
I know, that was crazy.
So funny, yeah.
Because I'm friends with Joanne and Ann.
Yeah.
And Joanne Grigioni and Ann Harris used to work at Comedy
Sure.
Central, and they're still two of my best friends. But I think because they knew I was in the audience, like I was very,
Fresh-faced.
yeah, like I had
optimistic,
nothing yet in
new to
comedy.
the city.
Yeah, I think I did Carson Daly and Premium Blend were my two credits.
Oh, this was an
Right.
earlier your first special?
My very first one.
I thought talking about the last one that just came out. I was like, wow, that's just DeRosa on the edge, just watching the last
that would
late.
be weird, yeah.
That's what they're talking about. But it's so much funnier.
I was so flat because Steve was an established guy when I came to New York, and he was a guy that was kind enough to like pull me aside and give me advice, and like be nice to me, when every other comedian I knew that became a good friend eventually only knew how to show acceptance through shitting on you.
Through busting balls.
Yeah. Busting balls is too light of a term.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
fucking brutal, but it was
Mean.
funny.
Yeah.
But anyway, but Steve was one of the guys that would like fuck around, but then he would like actually pull you aside and be like, we all like you, right? And like actually be nice. So when he invited me, I was so flattered and excited. And then I was also I was still in that stage where I was excited to see your special. I was excited to support and experience the thing with you. But I was also still in that stage of career where I was excited to be at a taping.
Sure,
I was
yeah.
just excited. I felt like I was part of show business.
At what
Right,
point?
yeah.
How
You
many
know,
times
like-
did you think on the way there, getting there, you're like, I'm pretty sure I'm opening for him.
Never.
At no point
Never.
did you
No,
think
I
you were going to
swear.
be on
Yeah, I
there.
knew. But I did.
Wait, if I show up and if my shoes are nice and I got a nice jacket on, maybe he'll throw me
Maybe
up.
they'll throw me up. I did secretly hope that I would get a crowd shot, which I
Really?
did get.
Oh, funny.
Like without asking or anything, which was nice. But yeah, like that was like a really magical time. And then you were also, we've talked about this on other podcasts, or we've talked about this somewhere, I don't remember where, but like you also had that thing, you were doing that fucking MTV, like This Is My Dream
True
show.
Life.
Yes.
True Life had,
What was that?
MTV had True Life, and then they did one where it's I'm a comedian. And I did
Oh,
it.
Dan St. Germain was one of them, right?
I don't
Or
know.
there
I
was
did
one
it.
where he did.
Yeah.
I want to be a comedian.
Not
but I
at the
don't-
time.
It must have been before that. Yeah.
His was.
His was before that. Yeah.
He was like in the first season or something.
Yeah.
And then they
okay.
didn't use it, right?
use it,
And
yeah.
you were so pissed because you were like, that was so intrusive because you were trying to prep for your special and they were like following you everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
That
you,
was not fun.
you still killed.
Oh no, that was Dan St. Germain did one that was I want to be a comedian. And then he coached somebody to try to do comedy for the first
This
time.
was last week.
Well, he was the one trying to be a comedian.
Yeah, I'm kidding. I loved Adam.
You're
Just
getting
kidding.
prepped to do a new hour.
Yeah, I'm not going to shoot it anytime soon. I've been really enjoying the process again of prepping the hour. This is absolutely hands down the best hour I've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very timely, but I'm very proud of it. It's very timely, but it still has an evergreen quality to it, which I'm proud of. And it's been really fun just kind of retiring myself to the hour itself and not doing what we often do as comics, which is be like, okay, I'm still working on new stuff, but then I have the hour over here. And I'm just like, nope, I am just working on the hour. I'm not doing sets. I'm not doing short sets. I'm taking the hour on the road. I'm doing a residency here at the Crane Theater in New York. Residency, using the term lightly, but we do it once a month there.
Right.
And I'm enjoying just in between those road sets and the New York sets at the Crane, not doing anything. And like, I mean, I'm doing other things like podcasting and stuff, but I just mean like not running around and trying to develop anything. And all the developing I'm doing, I'll write stuff down and I'll say that's for later, or I'll say, oh, that actually could go into the show, and I'll try it out or whatever. But I don't think I'm going to tape it I'll tape it, I think, this year, but like not. It might be as late as the winter. I don't know.
You think you'll do it in New York?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Was the last one, that was the one in the cemetery?
Yes. That was my last. That wasn't my last album, but that was my last
taping.
Right, yeah. Special.
Was it called The Last Taping in a cemetery?
No, that'd be good, though. The last broadcast.
The last one.
But, I think there's, and I won't get too, I don't want to put too fine a point on anything, but there's a freedom right now that we all have. Mm-hmm. We've all sort of been released from this concept of there being one linear way to do this. We've all kind of seen that this can be done, and for many of us needs to be done outside of the traditional.
Being anointed by the industry.
Yeah, the networks and everything. The networks are kind of gone, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're around, but they're not really around.
Yeah.
And then, like, the streamers have made their stances pretty clear.
Sure. Yeah.
So I know for a fact, like, the type of comic I am, and the type of following I have and stuff like that, I know I don't have a huge interest from streaming services, and that's okay. I've always wanted to be more independent, and my take on it right now is if I don't utilize that freedom,
right,
and allow myself to breathe, a chance to breathe, then that's a fail. Like if I'm just going to go to YouTube and be under the same stress and sort of kept mindset that we all had before with the gatekeepers. Well, that's a fail. So I'm enjoying, like, no, I'm doing this 100% on my own terms. I go out and I do my hour on the road, and I do it here in New York, and when I'm ready to tape it, I'll tape it. And until then, it's going to be very organic, and there's no bullshit. There's no like when it's time to tape it, I can get that set up in a month.
Sure, of course.
There's no urgency. 6 months, and you sign the paperwork, and then 6 months out from that, and then they got to find the venue. But see, the problem is they have all these other people on their slate. There's none of that bullshit.
Do you think that the pandemic gave you a little bit of that mindset of like
100%.
That hustle, that like not the desire to get good and figure it out, but just the need to be, like you said earlier, every night, no matter what's going on, I got to get on stage, sets.
100% came from the pandemic. I was done with comedy in the pandemic. I don't think any of us were really thinking clearly, so to speak, in that period.
And we didn't know.
Yeah, who knew it was going to happen? But I was definitely in the midst of that whole thing going, I'm done. I'm not going to do it anymore. And then that evolved into, well, if I do it again, I'm going to do it on my own terms. And I really have to thank Ari Shaffir. He was the one that pushed me and said,
out of a helicopter.
Yeah. And said, like, what are you doing? Like, why aren't you doing stand-up? Like, and I was like, you're right. I should be doing stand-up. But okay, I promised myself that if I was going to do it, I was going to do it on my own terms. And
what was your thought process when you said I'm not going to? When you thought you weren't going to do stand-up again, what was going to who were you going to be? What were you going to be doing outside of that?
I honestly thought I was just gonna, because we were in the process of opening the
sandwich
Joey
shop.
Rose's sandwich and bar place. I thought that was kind of what I was going to do. I thought, like, I was just like, I guess I'm just going to own a bar in New York, and I have this podcast where I talk about food, and then I have another one where I talk about movies, and I guess that'll be kind of that, you know. And I was wrong, but you know.
Do you think right now you could be satisfied with doing podcasts and just owning a sandwich shop?
No, I found a new energy and a new love for being on stage again through the reapproach and the reframing of it.
Right.
I would be absolutely miserable right now if I was still doing what I used to do. And I'm not knocking it. It's okay if you do it, you know, like in this way. Like for some people, this works. But for me personally, if I was still going out every night and just doing sets and, like, you know, the grind of that and whatever, I just wouldn't be happy.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not, it also, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's just, I just see it differently now.
I also think there's like an immense security in knowing that, like, to your point, the industry has recalibrated so much because people are putting things up on YouTube, right? But the only reason those specials on YouTube have succeeded, and here's a huge difference between the New York comedy scene and the LA comedy scene.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of an LA comic that's put up a YouTube special that's blown the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
The New York comics started that. The New York comics did that because the New York comics all collaborated and got together and said, you're doing a special?
Mm-hmm.
Let's all get behind it. Let's blow it the fuck out.
Yeah.
Let's get on our socials, and let's pump this up.
Yeah.
And that's been a huge difference between, I think, LA and New York. I can't think of an LA comic that's done it, but the New York comics have done it because they all got together, because I think there's such a camaraderie here. Everybody knows each other, and everybody, ultimately, we all bust balls and shit, but you want these people to succeed. And so everybody's pushed it, which has been really great.
Yeah. No,
I think it goes back to the hang. There's no hang in LA comedy.
No.
Compared to here, it's
No,
night and day.
There's barely comedy in the LA comedy scene. It's fucking awful.
I see some of the, I have a lot of comedian friends in LA who are great. I'm not knocking, I'm not saying you can't be funny in that
But if you
scene,
go to the Improv,
but
if
I
you
do
go to
see
the
lineups.
store,
Yeah.
and you sit there and you'd be like, I got some time to kill, a half hour before I. It's very rare I would go in that room and sit down and be like, all right, I'm going to watch some of this.
Well, yeah, and then after the exodus of LA started to happen, where, you know, you left.
That's it.
Obviously,
Just stop
just
there.
Steve left, and it
Just
fell
me.
apart. You
The
left.
walls fell
Rogan
down.
left, and I know
You can
those
start
guys
with Rogan.
go back.
Rogan, Segura, Christina P. Yeah, I mean, there's
it's
a lot
like,
of great comics.
you
that
know,
left. Theo
like-
and
Tony, you know, Hinchcliffe. It's like guy like.
Delia, not by choice. Sorry.
Again, not by choice.
Some guys got on a plane. Other guys fingered their way out of the.
Some guys got on a
Out of the
plane.
scene.
Some guys got on a school bus and got right out of goddamn LA.
See, this is why you have a brighter future than I do. 'Cause I can't think of a clean way to say anything. No, but like, you know, yeah, it's. But I mean, here's the thing. Here's the biggest thing I learned, and it is the most fulfilling thing that has ever happened to me, and I mean that. It is more fulfilling than any special I ever got, or deal, or gig, or anything. I have learned in the last year of calendar year of touring. I've said no, and there's a fear that comes with that initially, and then the strength that comes from that is amazing. I'm not going to name names, but there's a particular club or clubs that I couldn't get arrested at.
Right.
Pre-pandemic I couldn't get fucking arrested at these places.
Can you hint in the city or on the road?
On the road.
Okay.
And it made me furious. All my friends would work them. It made me feel so left out and so furious. And literally yesterday, my live appearance guy called me and he was like, they keep calling us, like, and I said, no, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And
You're like Morgan Freeman, The Shawshank Redemption. It finally happens. You're like,
yeah,
I'm good.
yeah, I'm good at
Yeah, you
here.
could have stamped it the last 8 years.
Yeah,
But no.
and it wasn't no out of spite. It was no out of.
It's when you get there, you get there.
I just don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Like, we're doing these other venues now and these other types of venues.
Yeah.
And like, it's a different experience. And I was like, tell them I'd be willing to go in and do a weekday on my own terms.
Sure.
But I have no interest in going in there and doing a 6-show weekend.
Well, especially when you're in
Yeah,
your
I just
mindset now
don't.
and like the show you're working on, like you're gonna have to go back and dance and do the thing that you were doing before you're, you are where you are. You're gonna have to go do the host, the opener, the middle, the check spot, the chicken fingers. You're gonna have to do the whole thing. I'm assuming it's a chicken finger place.
Yeah, and finally, and again, I'm not knocking. I can't stress this enough. I'm not knocking it to anybody that does do the. I'm not saying I'm better than those rooms. That's not in all what I'm
it's your
saying.
own
It's your
personal
mindset.
journey, yeah.
I'm just saying, like, all of these things through the years led me in a certain direction, and all these things that seemed like slights and fails and pitfalls and whatever. Now I'm looking at that. I'm going. Thank God, I am not beholden to such and such club in such and such city, because now I get to go into that city and go into like a music venue and do the show on my own terms, and I don't have to go, fuck, dude, can you make sure
again,
that they're cool with that? You know what I mean? Or
But
what?
it's to your point that before you would have to wait for the gatekeepers to go, okay, Joe, you can come on in now. Thank you very much for waiting your turn. You finally proved yourself. Like, there's a fatigue factor that comes into all that stuff, and the comics have pushed the pendulum back on the industry so much so that you don't have to go through the regimented system anymore.
Yeah.
You go at it and do independent clubs and draw on your own.
Yeah.
And so now, like, you think about it, before you had to have a special and you toured off that special. And now it's like, I just need my fucking phone and Wi-Fi and like a good mic. And now every major touring comic, really, they have a podcast as well. There's very few that I can't think of any that don't. Maybe other than like Brian Regan, who has built up such a fan base over the last 2 or 3 decades.
So imagine the money left on the table. That guy not having a podcast.
I know.
It makes me crazy.
Well, which speaks to the amount of money that's not on the table in his pocket, where he's like, I don't need it.
By the way, there's no other side to that. People leave money on the table because they don't need it. There's not enough money. There's not a little amount of money on the table. Like, I'm taking there's a zero.
Yeah.
The zero money is the bare minimum.
When you think about Andrew Santino, he just released a special on Netflix. The special he did 2 or 3 years ago couldn't get acquired at anywhere else.
Yeah.
And then it ended
Isn't
up on
it
Amazon
wild?
Prime. And in 2 to 3 short years, he's crushing it on the road.
Wearing
He
Gucci
built
on
up
his
the
Netflix
specials.
special.
Yeah, and now he's
Dressed like a complete asshole.
now Netflix came to him.
I love Santino.
But he did it all on his own.
No, isn't it so wild? Like, isn't it so wild? Like, it's funny, man. I just went and saw Rogan's club in Austin, and they were talking about like when we open and like, and I just made the joke. I go, you guys don't even need to do press. What's Rogan going to do? Rogan? Like, we're all hoping to get on his show to promote our thing.
Yeah, do you think I could get
I'm like, he is the thing. Like, this is what an advantage.
What a
you know?
switch. I hope I get booked at Rogan's club so I can get on Rogan.
Right. I mean, it's...
It's never been that way.
I said to them, I go, him talking about my bar and sandwich shop when I wasn't even on the show gave us higher profile press than anything I could have paid for. It's so nuts. Like, we're so... And by the way, if you get and myself included, you get the money from the industry, they say, we actually want to buy your TV show, or here's $100 or $200 to do your special, or if you're really famous, $1 million or $2 million or whatever. And it's like, if you get that, take it.
Yeah.
Take their fucking blood money, and that's dumb not to.
Yeah.
But if you don't get it, there's another way to do it. And in that other way, love the freedom of it. Like, you just don't have to be beholden to them anymore. You don't have to sit there and wait for them to say okay.
The problem that I think comics get into, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I've had 2 different holding deals with 2 different networks, and both times they've said the reason they've said we're not going to pick it up or we're not going to series or whatever it is, it's so little and stupid that it makes it's so hard to think that you're not good enough. When they said, "Oh, we just had a show fail with a tall guy with a beard, so we're not going with you," and it's like you're done. It's like it's so hard to think. There's no way that it's not because I'm not good enough, I'm not funny enough, I'm not talented enough. It drives you into the ground.
Let me try to put it in perspective in the best way I can, guys. They canceled Batgirl. Michael Keaton was in it. They shot the entire movie and put it on a shelf. If you think they give a fucking rat's ass about whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah, no shit.
They don't care. They fired Henry Cavill. They were like, beat it. We don't give a shit. We'll take the fan backlash. We don't fucking like. It's like you have to take these things.
They're bean counting. They don't give a fuck. By the way, Sebastian, Kreischer, like all these people, like that are selling out theaters and arenas and stuff. That industry, they don't give a shit about it. They don't care. They don't care about any of it. It doesn't mean anything until you've done one thing that's successful for them. That's when they care. Right. They don't care. So let's get to the first one. Here we go. This is our first clip of the day. Very excited for this.
So why are our names on the envelopes?
This is your show.
Oh, I thought it was like I opened one. I thought maybe one of these was pay.
I don't know who these comics are, but this is Jerrod Carmichael. Our first clip.
You don't know who that is?
No, I don't know who. I don't know.
Oh, you don't know who's in the
I don't know who the
envelope.
clips are.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, sorry.
So this is Jerrod Carmichael. We're going to watch a clip, and I haven't seen this at all. I'm very excited to see what we're about to see here.
Okay.
Welcome to the 80th annual Golden Globe Awards.
Oh, I haven't seen this, so I'd heard about this, so.
Me too. I haven't seen it yet. I read a transcript.
Look at how excited they are.
Yeah.
I am your host, Jerrod Carmichael. Sure. And I'll tell you why I'm here. I'm here because I'm black.
Just a soulless room of people.
If you settle down a little bit, I'll tell you what's been going on. This show, the Golden Globe Awards, did not air last year because the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, which I won't say they were a racist organization, but they didn't have a single black member until George Floyd died. So do with that information what you will. I'll tell you how I got here.
Great silence.
Why am I here on the stage with you guys?
Well, it's a great point. It's not really a joke.
But I love this.
at home.
He's sitting there.
Yeah.
Oh, for the love of Christ.
Just drinking tea, and I got a phone call from my man, Stephen Hill. Stephen Hill is a great producer, and he said, Jerrod, really, I'm honored to be making this phone call. He said, I'm producing the 80th Golden Globes, and it would be an honor if you would agree to join as the host. I was like, whoa. You know? Like, 1 minute you're making mint tea at home. The next, you're invited to be the black face of an embattled white organization. Life really comes at you fast, you know? So I said, Stephen, I'm torn. I'll be honest with you. I'm a little torn because, you know,
Can you stop this?
For the
This is
rest of
fucking
it,
awful. This is fucking awful.
I like Jerrod a lot, too.
I'm going to tell you right now, it's fucking awful. I want to say this. He didn't earn the right to fucking sit down in that room. You didn't earn it. You're not that good of a comic.
You're talking from just a stand-up.
I'm talking
Comedically.
from the performance angle of it.
Right.
I have no gripes against Jerrod.
No,
okay?
no, yeah.
But I think in this moment, this is the fucking worst thing you could do right now is to sit there, not literally sit there and make a statement that's not even fucking entertaining or funny. You're put on one of the biggest stages. You've been privileged with this great opportunity, and you're shitting the bed by not delivering anything humorous. Or this is a behind the scenes talk.
Right.
You do this with Extra or Access
Well-
Hollywood or on Marin. This is a moment to shine. You're
yeah.
there with the greatest of the greatest, and they all want to celebrate. It's a fucking awards ceremony, and you're not doing anything to fucking
Well,
entertain
I would
them.
say you're not with the greatest of the greatest. I would
I mean,
start there.
in terms of
but it's-
the cachet of
yeah,
storytellers or whatever.
Sure, I
they're
would.
celebrating storytelling.
This is
and narrative.
this is my problem with
It's
it.
fucking awful.
But this is my
This is
problem.
bad.
This is my problem with it.
He didn't earn it.
And I can't.
Why are you sitting down?
Well, yes, but
What are you doing?
I
The
can't.
shoes look uncomfortable. I will give him that. They're tuxedo rental shoes, for Christ's sake. Take a
I'm not-
seat.
What an opportunity.
I'm obviously not a black man, and I'm obviously not a gay black man, and I don't know if that informs the decision to do the gig. But I will say this, and this was my problem with it from the jump, or at least my perspective on it from the jump. I am tell these organizations to go get fucked. Why is the win being like, oh, they said they realized they fucked up? Why? Because they got called out on it? And now they said sorry? Why? Because they got called out on it? Okay, so now we're gonna say it's okay, and we'll go play ball with them under the guise of, yeah, but as I play ball, I'm gonna tell them to fuck. Just tell them to fuck off. What is the prize of this? What is the prize of this?
There's no
the
way to-
fucking Golden Globes. That's the prize.
Well, I think the prize
to
is
be
they-
accepted into an organization that was racist, that got fucking reprimanded
No,
for
but
being
it's a
racist?
platform. He has a platform to entertain. He has a platform to make a statement and also
Sure.
entertain. We look at how Gervais did it. Gervais did it. He flipped it on it. This is all bullshit. It's a fucking charade. It's a sales. It's a fucking sales banquet, is what it is. And he's gonna shit on everybody. And he did it in a really entertaining, fun way. And Jerrod's like,
And he
"Let
got
me
his point
slow it-"
across.
But Gerrod's like, let me slow it down and bring it down to my level. It's like, your level? Who the fuck are you? Like, you've done
Regardless
things
of
that
who
have
this
never.
is.
He's done things that have never hit. Name me one hit. One hit where everybody's like, that's fucking undeniably great, and everybody knows about it.
So
He
do you
hasn't
think if
earned
Chappelle did
the
this,
right to be there?
or if Eddie Murphy started off this slow, sat down, do you think you'd have a
I
different
think-
yeah,
perspective?
because
I think
he's a peer amongst
I will
peers.
say
Got
this.
it.
This is like, what is
I
this?
will say this, and again, I'm not being diplomatic. I really like Gerrod a lot. Like, and he's a good dude, and he's a funny dude. But what he's doing here, I agree. Like, all I'm thinking the whole time is, man, if this was Chris Rock, he would have at least. My point is if you're going to take the gig, which I don't think anybody should. I think the attitude should be, fuck off, guys. You failed. We're out. We don't need your fucking award show. None of us do.
'Cause then
Black,
it's-
white,
then
whoever.
it's just gonna
fuck
be-
off. But this just now, okay, so the tradition continues, and it's classic Hollywood. Like, they're not sorry. They didn't fix anything. They just got caught with their hand in the cookie jar, so now they're going to make appearances. But if you're going to go in,
And now the cookie jar is filled with brownies.
if you're going to go in and you're going to say, okay, we're all aware that that's the case. I'm going to go in and be the guy that calls it all out. You got to call it out swinging. You got to come out like Chappelle
a
did on
blunt
that
force
SNL.
instrument.
This is how
not.
Chappelle on that last
Great.
SNL, it was crushed.
This
It was
is how a
crusher
poet would
set.
do it. Not a,
No,
the
this is-
problem is that a
this is
comedian
him.
was hired to do this and didn't do the job of comedy.
He didn't. He's not hosting. He's not entertaining. It's
well-
a show, and he's not doing it at all. And I'm telling you, I swear to God, this whole thing, it sounds like Marin sat down with him on a podcast and go, so tell me about the gig. Well, Mark, I got the gig because I'm black. And then all this shit right here, this is a fucking interview. This is not entertainment.
Well, let me ask you this question. I don't think Jerrod sees himself as a traditional stand-up by any stretch. Do you think he's going, I don't give a fuck about traditional stand-up. That's not what I'm going out there to do. I'm going to go out there and do what I do, and you can take it or fucking leave it. There is something.
Sure, but he's doing it himself and the show a huge disservice.
I think he's doing it partially what you're saying.
The sit down is just
It's condescending.
well,
to me, it's condescending. He hasn't earned this. He hasn't earned the right to do this.
It's condescending, but this is my point. This is my point with taking the gig to begin with. It's like it's not a win to me to go into a condescending organization's award show and then be condescending back unless
be entertaining.
Unless it is so devastating.
Be entertaining.
That
this is not
it's
entertaining.
a mic drop.
I think that this is. I think that we're missing the
not
part
even
that
close to a
he's
mic drop.
that he's taking the opportunity to be unprofessional. There could be something here about he's intentionally being unprofessional because
Right.
he doesn't give a fuck about this
I think,
about the
sure.
show, and so he's
Then
like,
don't take the gig.
"Sure,
Well,
I get it, but
but-
there's a statement there, and I get it. It's
Why do
supposed to be
you-
funny,
why
but
do you
he's
think
making a
this is such a
statement
beholden gig is my question.
Look, you go back.
because he sent a tape in for it
Watch
and didn't
Billy
get
Crystal. Watch Steve Martin.
I
Watch
get it.
any of these people that host. They shifting gears, and they're a Swiss Army knife in terms of Hollywood. In the old cachet of Hollywood,
I get
they're
that.
doing exactly what you would want somebody
But
in this position to do.
I get that, but my question is with this particular organization that got caught on some bullshit, why I do understand that the other side of this, where it's like, why not go in there and go, yeah, I'm going to shit the bed on your dumb award show and tell you you're a bunch
Well,
of
fucking make
assholes.
me laugh.
Well, but I'm saying maybe his whole point is like, fuck off. I'm coming in here to say,
Then
fuck
don't
you.
take the fucking gig.
Okay, I got you.
That is a gig that has been like, you see what Gervais did with it. You see what Tina Fey and Amy Poehler did with it. They're
All right.
shitting on the guys about their lifestyle and the Me Too movement and all that stuff, and they did it in a great way. This is like something you see on a college campus.
Okay, all
I'm like
right,
in a
I got
fucking
you.
coffee shop.
I got
I'm like,
you.
what the fuck? These people got dressed up. They're there to celebrate each other, narrative, great storytelling, different forms of fashion and entertainment in terms of film and television. and it's
I
like,
don't know, man. I
That's
feel
what
like
it is.
I feel like it's also because I was on that tip up until about 3 minutes ago. Fuck everyone that's in this audience too. Fuck everyone.
you guys can say
because
that.
there's a million other ways that we can celebrate the art form of movie telling and
That's what I'm
storytelling. Is
saying.
that like I'm starting
why are
to
you
not
saying like fuck those?
fuck the
this
Golden
is-
Globes and fuck anyone who participates in them because of what such the bullshit that they've become. And all of a
guys can
sudden,
say that, but
he
this
owes the
audience-
audience something. It's like,
Of
no,
course,
you don't.
Of course you do. The
I don't know.
audience is there to be entertained. The audience is there to entertain each other. The
that's an audience
is
of
there
people that have
celebrating.
been-
That's the industry. This is the part of the industry that we respect. The part of the industry we disrespect are the executives, are the fucking sales awards, all
I
that other
respect
horseshit.
about-
But
I
all-
respect
these
about a
are-
third
these are
of the
all
people in
artists,
that room.
directors, creatives,
About a third-
costume designers, editors. They work on sound. They worked all year, and this is finally their moment to shine and go out with their wife and get dressed up and go. All that hard work is for tonight.
But that was, but I got to tell you, Steve, that was a lot of, and I won't name names, a lot of very notable people that we both know in the business.
Mm-hmm.
That was their problem with Gervais, where they were like, fuck you, how fucking dare you? This is somebody's chance to finally get some recognition and take an award. And you're
Mm-hmm.
going to sit there and fucking shit on them and make your fucking Mel Gibson joke? Fuck you, dude. My whole thing is this.
Well, Chris Rock took a slap to the face because of Gervais. I think that what Gervais did was escalated it to a point. Every time you do that, you move the marker downfield, right? And now it can't go back. And what happened is Gervais took it to such a place that now Rock comes out with a softball of a fucking joke, and finally the industry, somebody from the audience came back and slapped back. Physically.
I think all of this, the show, the people there, like it's a big fucking beautiful thing, whatever, the awards. And I swear to God, I'm not saying this as somebody going, I don't work for award. I don't mean it like that. We'd all like to be recognized for our work. But I think the fact that this fucking industry is still trying to present itself as some sort of organic evolutionary organism, it's so pathetic and absurd to me. It's like, guys, you know, the new Night Court is a perfect example. It's like it's like take a character like Dan Fielding, who on the original show was a complete Lothario and a complete grab ass. Bring that character back in the Me Too era. And what do you do with that character? Don't recognize that at all. Don't ever call attention to that was a thing. We're going to, in fact, rewrite almost the character's history until, I guarantee you, somebody calls them out on it. And then they'll either get rid of the character and fire John Larroquette,
Sure.
or they'll suddenly go, we've learned from this, and now we're going to address the issue.
Yes.
And
The first 5 seconds is we recognize the mistakes of our past, like every
exactly.
Disney cartoon has now.
Well, there's the
Exactly.
hypocrisy of
And it's
Hollywood.
like-
Yes, there's the hypocrisy of Hollywood, and the Me Too movement was a huge stop pointing the finger at society. Look at yourself, clean up your own fucking house. But I'm talking about this moment in time, this gig. You get to host the Golden Globes. You're a comedian. What do you want to do? Do you want to entertain, or do you want to do this shit?
This is what Jerrod does, though. This is his thing. Now, whether you like it or not is a different story. But my point is this is his thing, and they clearly wanted him to come out and do his thing. So he's doing his thing. I don't like any aspect of this. I think he should have told this award show to go get fucked.
Yeah.
Or went out there. Look,
Go
I'll
get
say
fucked
this.
in a fun way.
He's got problems with Chappelle that I don't agree with. But I will say this about Chappelle. The Chappelle at time, and Chappelle's is a friend, so I'm not knocking him. But like at times, does Dave get a little too poignant for me? Like where
A little saccharine or preachy?
where it's a lot of talking for and that's his thing. Yeah, sometimes, sure, that's fair. But I will say this:
The payoff's gonna be good.
Exactly. Every time Dave talks, I'm very much like, I am like, what the fuck is he going to say? You know what I mean? And I don't think that. I feel like that's what Jerrod is trying to do here. And
Without the payoff.
I don't think he's. But forget the payoff part. I'm saying
The payoff is why you're tuning in for a host.
I'm saying though, even the part without the payoff is not that intriguing to me.
No, this is
It's
bad.
like you made a great point. They didn't have a black member until George Floyd died. It's like, okay, get into that.
Yeah.
Develop that.
He's
Like,
leaving.
explore that.
It's all premises, no payoffs.
Yeah. Like, but I'm saying even without the payoff, the premise is barely there. It's just
Right.
like okay, that's a great point.
But even if the payoff isn't
where
a
we-
joke, but like wrap up the point. You started
So,
the point and you walked away from
this
it.
this is not a great.
It's not good. I
Let's
don't
do
like
the
it.
next one.
Okay, let's go to clip number 2. It just makes me angry that you would take that opportunity and not exploit it, to your point, and to my point, exploit it to the point where it's really genuinely making a statement in a great, humorous way. That's the job, right? You can't blame the audience. You got to blame yourself. And for me, I watch that, and I just it makes me sick to my stomach that you blew that fucking opportunity.
Was it well received?
I haven't
in
heard
the press or whatever.
I haven't heard.
I don't
anything
think
about it.
anyone said anything good about it. No.
And I do like him. I just think, again, it's like that's the point of the show is that we're pointing out the bits, we're pointing out the moments, we're not pointing out the comics.
I also don't understand why comedy has become, it's a very interesting thing with the Jerrod and Chappelle thing. Why has comedy become you're either the Chappelle pariah who is an absolute fucking beast on stage,
Sure.
or you're the more understanding, caring guy that can't land punchlines. Why is there not a different version of that on either side? Why
think-
is there not the caring comic
That crushes.
who crushes,
Well, here's the difference.
and then the pariah guy that bombs?
Here's the
you know?
difference of we grew up at a time where it was like you were a killer comic or you're that alt comic that doesn't get laughs and the industry loves you. And it's the same thing now. The
clothes are just
the point
different.
with your
But the
Chappelle
alt
and the
guys,
point
when
with
we were
this.
coming up, the alt guys were beasts, dude. The alt
Some
guys,
were.
when we
Some
were coming up,
not great, not a lot of them.
a lot of club guys aren't either. But that's not the point. You'll find shit wherever you fucking dig. The alt guys when we were coming up,
There were some great
the
ones.
Titans, Marin, Patton Oswalt,
Well, Dimitri,
Garofalo, Dimitri,
Zach,
Zach Galifianakis.
sure.
You
You throw Sarah Silverman in there. She would
dude,
work those
Sarah,
rooms.
Sarah Silverman, dude, Bonnie McFarlane,
Sure.
like, dude, like,
But you know
Maria
what I mean.
Bamford.
You know what I mean,
These people
though.
were fucking beasts.
Yeah, but you're
dude.
you're also
Yeah.
talking about like the top that came out of the bucket of endless
But I'm
amount
saying-
of point making
But
nonsense.
you could say that you could say the same thing about the clubs.
Sure.
For every Patrice, I could name I
know what you mean.
I don't want to shit on anybody. But for every Patrice and when I started in the clubs, it was Patrice, it was DePaulo, it was Carlin Quinn, it was Judy Gold, it was these were the titans that were around, and they're still around. But when I was starting in New York, these were the like holy shits. And for every one of those I just named, I could name a fucking cruise ship comic or whatever else.
Yeah.
There's a cruise ship comic version of alt.
But I think that there's a
And
difference
it sucks.
where
You know what I mean? Like, there's
the
alt hack. Pete Holmes used to always do a bit about alt hack.
Yeah.
And he would, because Pete was big in that scene.
Sure.
And Pete was
Yeah.
a fucking beast. Like, it was like, but he would go alt hack, and I forget what the examples were, but I was like, that's so funny. There's there's a hacky version.
There's a version of the
Yeah.
I think that the alt scene, though, or in that particular version of the alt scene, the people that weren't funny but were making points were happy and content not getting the laugh as long as their point got across, whereas the rest of them wanted the laugh no matter what. So even if they weren't good and they sucked and they were still trying to get the laugh.
Yeah, it's called talking.
Nobody was
It's called
better.
talking. You just go talk to people.
Nobody was better in that scene than at making a point and being hilarious and being original than Patton Oswalt. Patton Oswalt was the fucking best.
still
Well,
is.
he's the king of
He's
that
still
whole
awesome.
scene.
I'm not writing him. I'm not saying like he used to be. He's still great. But my point is like he had that fucking bit where he just started the bit with when two gay guys have sex together, when one guy puts his dick in another guy's ass, that really upsets me, and I find it gross, and I don't like it, so I don't think it should be a thing. And he was like, if Christian homophobes actually said this, that would be a point. He was like, instead of holding up this book and being like, it says in this book that it's wrong.
Yeah.
And it was such a edgy way to start a bit.
Yeah.
Because when he would start it, you'd be like, where is he going with this? And then when he would hit it, and he was just so fucking good at it, man.
But that's to your point too. Like what we just watched, it was so on the surface. There was no mining for gold.
Right.
And I'm telling you, we watched 2 minutes. I was like, there isn't one thing I could sit there and go, but why make me wait? You're on the Golden Globes. You're not going to sucker punch the audience and give them something to laugh at, and go hang tight. We got more. There's just nothing. That was fucking bad. Okay, number 2.
Okay.
Oh, Ricky Gervais. Here we go.
Oh, all right.
Here's a great example of the opposite.
Thank you. Hello and welcome to the 77th Annual Golden Globe Awards, live from the Beverly Hilton Hotel here in Los Angeles. I'm Ricky Gervais. Thank you. You'll be pleased to know this is the last time I'm hosting these awards, so I don't care anymore. I'm joking. I never did. NBC clearly don't care either. 5th time. So, I mean, Kevin Hart was fired from the Oscars because of some offensive tweets. Hello? Lucky for me, the Hollywood foreign press can barely speak English. And they've no idea what Twitter is. So I got offered this gig by fax.
This
So,
thing.
let's go with a bang.
Pause it for a second.
Let's have a laugh.
This thing made me lose. If this is the actual last one, right?
Yeah.
This made me lose respect for Tom Hanks.
Oh, and
When it cuts to him, and he's
shut
like,
Yeah.
It's like, oh, fuck off, Tom.
I don't know if that was Tom. I think that might have been
No,
Spielberg.
It cuts to Tom
does
Hanks
it?
and Tom Hanks.
No,
is,
that's Otto.
Shall we? Remember, they're just jokes. We're all going to die soon, and there's no sequel. So,
Great joke.
yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that. But you all look lovely, all dolled up. You came here in your limos. I came here in a limo tonight, and the license plate was made by Felicity Huffman. So, no. Shush.
Okay.
It's her daughter I feel sorry for, okay? That must be the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to her. And her dad was in Wild Hogs. So, lots of big celebrities here tonight. I mean, legends, icons, yeah? Look, at this table alone, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, but... Baby Yoda. Oh, that's Joe Pesci, sorry.
Thank you.
I love you, man. Don't have me whacked. But tonight isn't just about the people in front of camera. In this room are some of the most important TV and film executives in the world. People from every background, but they all have one thing in common. They're all terrified of Ronan Farrow. He's coming
Here's
for
the
you.
Spielberg one.
He's coming for you. Look, talking of all you perverts, it was a big year.
Perverts.
It was a big year for paedophile movies. Surviving R. Kelly, Leaving Neverland, Two Popes. I don't care. Many talented people of colour were snubbed in major categories. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. The Hollywood foreign press are all very, very racist. So, fifth time.
All right, Hank, he's
smiling. He's having a
okay,
good
I'm
time.
sorry. I'm sorry. I knocked
No,
you.
there's another one. There's
problem
another one,
with
though.
This year,
There's another
but
one,
when
though.
I saw the list of people that had died, it wasn't diverse enough. It just, no. It was mostly white people. And I thought, nah, not on my watch. Maybe next year. Let's see what happens. No one cares about movies anymore. No one goes to the cinema. No one really watches network TV. Everyone's watching Netflix. This show should just be me coming out going, well done, Netflix, you win everything. Good night. But no, we got to drag it out for 3 hours. You could binge watch the entire first season of Afterlife instead of watching this show. That's a show about a man who wants to kill himself because his wife dies of cancer. And it's still more fun than this. Okay? Spoiler alert, season 2 is on the way. So in the end, he obviously didn't kill himself. Just like Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, my God.
Shut up. I know he's your friend, but I don't care. You like to make your own way here in your own plane, didn't you? Right. But seriously, most films are awful, lazy, remakes, sequels. I've heard a rumour that there might be a sequel to Sophie's Choice. I mean, that'd just be Meryl Streep going, well, it's got to be this one then.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, I think we get
I
it.
mean, there's a difference. He's taking it to him. He's holding them accountable. Like, literally, the talent in the room at, I think, peak Me Too movement or just post-peak Me Too movement.
I agree.
But he's entertaining them.
Listen, I understand. There's also, here's the thing. It's undoubtedly funnier. I mean, I can't deny that. I don't know that the stance is much more noble. You know, the idea, this idea of the court jester going into the showroom at the palace and
Sure.
or throne room at the palace and taking the piss out of the people wearing the crowns and all that stuff. That's only noble when you remember the jester could be killed if he wasn't funny enough.
Sure.
There is no penalty for not doing this. So I do find it all a bit suspect when it's like, well, but that, and I'm a fan of Ricky Gervais. I really, really am. But it's like, well, that guy was noble because he went into that room and he took the, and it's like, yeah, but it's still his own way of still being a part of the bullshit.
But he threaded the needle. He had he tightened the crosshairs. They're fucking really well executed jokes. They're great jokes.
Absolutely, they're most
With
of them were.
Jerrod,
Some of them were bad roast jokes, but yeah.
But Jerrod, it's like I'm a comedian. I want to root for him. I want him to succeed. There's nothing more that I want than to see somebody in that environment do great and kill.
I think
And
I
I'm watching
could
going,
only.
You didn't even give yourself a chance to succeed.
I could only dissect it from the angle because I think they had different motivations,
Of course.
and some similar ones. But I think ultimately the only way, if for the purposes of this show, you can only dissect funny versus funnier.
Yeah.
And Gervais's set is obviously much funnier, you know. But then again, here's the flip side of it. Gervais, you know, like on Gervais's latest special, it gets to a point, and I fucking hate saying this because I don't think, I had no problem with Chappelle's SNL monologue. I had no problem with Chappelle's specials, and a lot of people obviously did. Gervais's new special, I wasn't offended by any of it, but it gets to a point where you're like, dude, you're doing yourself a disservice. Like, you're going so deep into these trans jokes, and it's getting so juvenile that it's like, come on, dude. And again, we're back to square one. Why is it one guy that can crush and then, not use his powers for good, in heavy quotes, or the other guy that doesn't go into that territory, but then just it's lukewarm.
Gervais doesn't. I mean, look, he's very funny and very well paid for being funny, but stand-up comedy is not his thing. So I think that he doesn't have the benefit of going to the clubs and touring and like. He doesn't do it. He doesn't do it. So he's sitting around not doing it.
For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So when you're having somebody that's being so pristine and precious about a subject matter, right? Then you're going to have people on the other side that go, well, let's push this as far as we can fucking go.
Of course.
And I think he was an example of that, pushing it so far.
Of course.
To the point where it's like...
And I don't want to digress into that. Like, that's not what this is about. This is about his set here. My point is as a set... As a comedy set, this is a much better set. Like, I can't deny that. I laughed a bunch. Like, I think he's really funny. I'm a sucker for mean, pointed humor. So it's like
it's perfect.
Yeah, I love Gervais. He can do no wrong by me. And I like Jerrod too. I think I made my point clear.
But you want to talk about too, just real quick. Gervais is also guilty of the Jerrod thing. He mentioned Afterlife. You watch Gervais on that show. It's like, dude, it's going from one scene where a therapist is making like dick and pussy jokes to the patient to a scene where Gervais is sitting in a bathtub with almost a fucking gun in his mouth.
Sure, but that's the platform. But that's the show.
But my point is like when he wants to turn the schmaltz on, he doesn't have any governor on it either.
Okay,
and
but
so
in
I've
a narrative
watched,
form?
Okay. But I've watched that and been like, Ricky, come on, dude. That's not... dude, please.
Sure.
So...
But it's storytelling.
Yeah.
When you're hosting, what's the job of a host? To entertain. I mean, it's almost like one gear. It's like, just entertain them. Make them laugh.
I think, though, too, to your point, that this has nothing to do with really any of it, is that he's got no editing. He writes it because he's funny, because he's been successfully funny for a long time. So nobody's being like, "Hey, don't do that," because that's their job
and
on the line.
I like the show, but it's just like anyway.
You get to a certain point where being funny, you can no longer tell if it's funny or not because no one's there to tell you no.
I hear what you're saying, and I would also say this, and this is not to in any way pat myself on the back. This is also part of why I started to take a different approach with stand-up was because I was like, I don't want to. Right now, in this point in time, I don't want to stand on stage for 15 minutes and have to be like, boom, 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 boom.
Sure.
When I feel ready to do that again, I'll do it. But until then, and I've said this to bookers or friends that own clubs and stuff, I said it to Paul. He was like, why aren't you putting it at the club, at the stand? I was like, because it's a disservice to your club, dude. My heart's not in that right now in that way. My heart's in stand-up in a very different way.
Sure.
And when I feel ready to do that again, I'll come back and I'll do it.
Right.
And so that actually supports your point where it's like, dude, if you're going to do the job, do the job. And if you're not going to do it, then don't do it.
To your point, I agree with what you just said. Yeah. All right, here, envelope number 3. No, it's a good point, though.
Yeah. I don't know if you're
George Carlin.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
Idol.
Well, that's why we picked it.
Now, something else a lot of you are aware of, those of you with illegal cable hookups will be aware of the fact that one of the things I like to do in my shows is complain. You know, it's kind of a motif for me, complaining. And of course, this weird culture we live in leaves you no shortage of things to complain about. So this next piece of material, like most good ideas, is fairly simple. It's just a list of people who ought to be killed.
This whole segment is great.
This for me was when I fell in love with Carlin.
Starting with these people who read self-help books. Why do so many people need help? Life is not that complicated. You get up, you go to work, you eat 3 meals, you take 1 good shit, and you go back to bed. What's the fucking mystery? And the part I really don't understand, if you're looking for self-help, why would you read a book written by somebody else? That's not self-help. That's help. There's no such thing as self-help. If you did it yourself, you didn't need help. You did it yourself. Try to pay attention to the language we've all agreed on.
I think that's the first time I've actually understood that on all the levels.
A similar mystery to me. Motivation books, motivation seminars. Why would anyone need to be motivated by someone else? I say if you lack motivation, a seminar isn't going to help you. What you really need is to be smashed in the head 30 or 40 times with a golf club. That'll fucking motivate you. Or else it'll at least get you up and moving around the room. You know, locate your socks, shit like that. Keep the day rolling. Motivation is bullshit. If you ask me, this country could use a little less motivation. The people who are motivated are the ones who are causing all the trouble. Stock swindlers, serial killers, child molesters, Christian conservatives. These people are highly motivated. Highly motivated.
Let's do one more.
And anyway, I think motivation is overrated. You show me some lazy prick who's lying around all day watching game shows and stroking his penis, and I'll show you someone's not causing any fucking trouble, okay?
All right, that's great. I mean, it's just fantastic.
Perfect. Yeah, airtight.
I mean, no fat on that bit.
No, airtight. I mean,
Yeah.
Carlin's my idol. He's been my idol since before I started stand-up. You know, he's everything I ever wanted to be. Like, make a point, make it in a funny way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, try to sound not condescending while you're doing it.
Right.
You know, that's what always fascinated me about him is that, for the most part, in the very last two specials, he gets a little more like, don't you fucking idiots get it?
Right.
You know, but like, you know, he for the most part says things where you're on his, you feel like he's on your side. You feel like he's kind of patting you on the back and saying like, you get this, you and I get this.
Like we are all in the room here together. Yeah.
Instead of like, and I'm a big Bill Hicks fan, but Bill Hicks would get very like, K, fucking wake up, K, you know, and it was like, it's like, all right, I feel like you're kind of telling me I'm an idiot.
Like, yeah, Hicks would
You know,
Hicks
like-
would tell you, Carlin will remind you.
Yeah,
Because you already knew it.
Yeah.
Whereas Hicks knew more than you.
Yeah, so you know, what can you say? It's just Carlin to me is the greatest that ever lived in on multiple levels of art, multiple genres of art, and you know, I can't say much more than that.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. Let's go to our last clip. Our last clip, as you know, is one of us.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So one of us is on the hook. Could be me, could be you, could be Mikey.
Okay.
Let's see what we got here. Again, I don't know.
I am trying to lose weight.
Look at this good-looking guy, huh?
Horrendous city, and L.A. is an awful, awful place. If you think it's okay, you're a bad person. You know. But I'm trying to lose. I eat really shit. A lot of Girl Scout cookies. I love Girl Scout cookies so much. Always delicious, but all the names of the cookies sound like racial slurs. This town was nice till all these friggin' Samoas moved in. That's a great bit.
Thank you.
Goddamn Thin Mints running everything around. You like this place? What are you, a Savannah Smile or something?
Just
Funny
some of the
names,
only
that's
TV
the
jokes
point.
I've ever written.
It's like my other favorite funny names are the names of the drinks in organic juice bars. Go to an organic juice bar, all the drink names sound like the most disgusting sex positions you could ever do. Oh, I totally gave this chick the berry burst last night. You don't know what the berry burst is? It's just like the fiber flush, except not in the butt. You know?
All right.
That's a great
joke.
Dude.
That was a great bit.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, there was. I was saying those are some of the. I mean, they're barely TV friendly. But
What was
they
that
were-
taping at?
That was when I worked on the Pete Holmes show. I was a staff. That was the Pete Holmes show, and I was a staff writer, and they were really good to the few of us that were stand-ups on the staff. They had us all on at one point, I believe.
Didn't you do the Seinfeld or something, the puppet or something like that?
I did. We did a recurring bit called New Material Seinfeld. where it was a puppet of Jerry Seinfeld coming up with new material, and so it was a bit of a pun. And the gag was that he was psychotically obsessive, but he was also really insecure. I don't know why
Sounds like
that
Seinfeld.
was the combination.
Yeah.
He needed validation constantly, which is so not Seinfeld.
Right.
Seinfeld's so like, yeah, I know, I'm funny. I'm just, you know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
very much like that. But like, this was him like in the other direction, where after every joke he'd be like, that's funny, right, Pete? Like that's funny. And then the bits though, the obsessiveness of the bits were clearly like just a heightening of Seinfeld.
Right,
You know,
right,
it's
right.
Like you'd take a word and get like so obsessed with it. And then like the hook for me and Pete was Pete would talk to the puppet. Pete never knew the bits before I did them on the show. So that was really fun, like coming up with the bits and then like doing them to him for the first time.
Sure.
And watching him react naturally to them, which was really cool. And Seinfeld tweeted about it, which was wild. And
Like in a backhanded way, or was he complimenting?
No, he was. Somebody did a Seinfeld parody somewhere of comedians in cars, and he was like, "This is a fun parody, unlike that mean version of me on the Pete Holmes show," something like that.
Oh, really? He was shitting on it then.
No. He was just. I forget how he said it, but it was
Right.
clearly like we were very happy.
Yeah,
he
okay.
wasn't being shitty. He was
Okay,
like,
yeah.
he was saying like wink, wink. You know, this is
Yeah.
a friendlier version of me or something like that. And I met him once. I met him one time. He was with Sebastian at the store.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Sebastian. And Sebastian was like, "Hey, this is Jerry." And then he walked away. And
Yeah.
then I was like, "Hey, Jerry." And I go, "I'm Joe DeRosa. I'm a comic. I'm new material Seinfeld on the Pete Holmes show." And he just goes, "Oh, I always liked that bit."
That was it. All right.
And he walked away.
That's the fucking worst. Anyways,
I don't know, it was a nice moment for me.
I'm glad you had a good experience. He's
So
a piece
funny.
of shit. Anyways,
Steve's on fire today.
yeah,
All right.
just you know,
I got a
he's-
piece so
he's
bad.
awful, yeah. Go ahead, guys. Joe DeRosa, where can people keep up with?
When's this come out? Out. Excuse me.
Soon?
Oh, okay.
Soon as
February.
Well, all my live dates are on joederosainfo.com. You can get tickets and information there. Got the Crane Theater residency and then hitting the road all over the place. Go to the website to check it out. Got the Taste Buds podcast with Sal Volcano on the No Press Network channel on YouTube. We'll See You in Hell podcast, me and Pat Walsh. New episodes at patreon.com/WSYIH podcast. And then Joey Rose's, obviously. Joey Rose's bar
Phenomenal.
and sandwich shop.
Genuinely good
Phenomenal.
sandwiches.
Thanks. Lower East Side, New York City. Joey Rose's NYC. We're open 7 days a week. Come see us.
And
If you're into
something,
food
something I
porn,
won't say.
follow the what's the account for? Is it Joey Rose's at Joey Rose's? Because I follow it, and
I think it's Joey Rose's NYC on Instagram.
just if you like looking at food like I do, like at 2 a.m, it's a fucking phenomenal
Thanks,
find.
buddy.
So yeah,
And I eat a lot and drink a lot, and I'll say that for the quality and the price, it could be one of the best places in New York City.
Thank you.
Homemade bread, everything made to order. The bar is incredibly reasonable.
Thank you.
And it's right next to a coffee shop where it's the worst comedy on earth. And I go to it all the time, and I love it.
No, they're great over it. They do great.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love
it
them.
over there.
Danny
Yeah.
Palmer, they're the best.
Yeah.
But it's sometimes 1 o'clock in the morning and you're wanting to shoot yourself in the head. But at least there's a warm shot of whiskey right next door.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean that in the nicest of ways.
Yeah,
it's
yeah. All
it's
right.
a great
keep
hang.
up with you.
Big Man Mike on everything, and then at Comedy Pinata. All of our links. If you're listening, you should watch. If you're watching, you should listen. That'd be great.
There you go, SteveBurnLive.com. Got to thank our sponsor. You could go while I read this. Did you know car repossession is on the rise? Do you know you also have every right to stop a repo guy from taking a car? Consumers have broad rights to stop a car repossession from happening, and that is where the law firm at Sue the Collector can help you. If your car is about to be repossessed or your car was repossessed and you verbally told them to stop, leave your car alone, were physically hurt or injured by the repo agent, or they took the wrong car altogether, you may have a case. The attorneys at Sue the Collector specialize in wrongful car repossession and can help you or your loved one. If you or your loved one were injured, lost valuables, or wrongfully had your car repossessed, call us now at 1-877-BAD-REPO, 1-877-BAD-REPO. Again, 1-877 Bad Repo. You can catch me, all my tour dates, steveburnlive.com, and my residency at Jimmy Kimmel's Club in Las Vegas is every other Thursday through July, so come out and check that out. And obviously, watch The Last Late Night streaming now for free at Amazon Prime. That being said, I want to thank Mike. I want to thank our good guest, Joe DeRosa, who had to urinate.
What a guy.
Because he stays hydrated. And thank you guys very much for tuning in. Rate, review, subscribe. Let people know. We're back in New York City doing this every week. So thank you guys. Anything
It's going to be
Mike?
a part of it. That's it. No.
That's it. We did it. All right.
If you have like unknown clips, I'd love to see this. Hit us up on like clips that you're just like super into of a comic.
Yeah.
Or like maybe it's a rare thing or whatever. Like shoot us a DM at Comedy Pinata because we'd love to watch them and take a look because we don't know everything about comedy and we'd love to see any weird clips. Oh, we definitely think we do.
Yeah.
For sure.
And much love to Jerrod Carmichael because, you know, I wasn't coming hard on him. I was just the opportunity. That's all I was saying. So, okay. Thank you guys very much.